platform, and we're so proud to be able to be in a position to act as such and to be catalysts.
I'm going to right now invite everybody to come out to Baiting Hollow to see what you do there and the tours that they take. They're free tours that you give, and you do them personally, and you take the people around. There are literally, we were there the other day, and there must have been, what, 500 or 600 people that come there, like regularly on weekends.
Yeah.
Well, the weekends, the numbers greatly exceed that, but at one given time, there are hundreds upon hundreds that are there. So the size of the tours that go out sometimes can be pretty a large amount of people, and we love that. We love that, and we always start out every tour because we feel our responsibility to do this, and we let people know that they can help to make a difference. And this is really important for people to know. And the way they're able to make a difference is not necessarily through a monetary contribution to a horse rescue. Not that that isn't very much needed.
That doesn't hurt.
No, it's very much needed because, you know, we're providing facilities. And we're trying to save more and more horses, and it's a very, very daunting endeavor. It really is, as is the case with other horse rescue organizations. So I would implore anybody listening here to get behind their local horse rescue organization and to help in any way that they can. But there's something that's very, very dramatic that they can do and costs them nothing. On our website, bhfvineyard.com, we have a horse rescue page. If you click on that horse rescue page, there's a link over to the Humane Society site that allows an individual to go there and put their name and their address in there. This is kept private, but it's forwarded automatically to their legislators. They don't have to know who their legislators are. This is a chance for their voice to be heard, to say that they want to stop the export of horses to Canada and to Mexico for slaughter, which is what's going on when Sharon alluded to the amount of horses that are slaughtered, American horses. It's because they're exported. And the reason that they're exported is that the slaughterhouses were closed due to a legislative effort in the United States at the end of 2007, which is wonderful. We always applaud that at the beginning of a tour. You know, and everybody really, you know, wraps their arms around that. And they know that they can take maybe 2 to 3 minutes of time to implore their legislators to back the current legislation so that the export stops. And in the export, horses are crammed into cattle cars and rail cars, and sometimes shipped for days at a time with no food and water. Many don't even survive the trip, only to end up meeting a terrible, terrible, inhumane death. In Mexico, for example, they very often, the workers there at these slaughterhouses will actually sever their spinal cords with a small knife, if you can imagine how horrific this is, so that they're paralyzed, but yet very much alive. And then they're slaughtered. So they're slaughtered while they're still, alive.
Yeah.
And aware. It's just ghastly. It really is. And we have a chance to do something that we feel, you know, by getting the word out, you know, to stop this export, to really stabilize things while the horse rescue operations can begin to emerge, and the ability of individuals to step up and say, yes, I can take a horse or two or more, depending on their status and their own physical limitations, because some people have lots of property, you know, some people don't, you know, and they can help in other ways.
I also believe that there are many people that do not realize that their next show horse can come out of the kill pen. 2 of our horses were just in the parade at the Hampton Classic, and I had people come up to me afterwards and say, how come your rescues look better than, than my horses? And the reality is that they all come out of the slaughter pen looking awful. But really, in just a very short time, you can rehabilitate horses that come out of the kill pen and have some of the most magnificent creatures. And that's one of the things that we feel very lucky to be able to show people, because they start out taking our tour and they say, okay, what's wrong with these horses? And I always say, you tell me. Take this tour and you tell me what's wrong with them. There's not one sick horse. There's not one lame horse. There's not one crazy horse. There's just nothing wrong with these horses. And we don't have very old horses. I found out, you know, originally I thought we would be rescuing old, sick horses. And I was okay with that. But really what has transpired is that I found out that the ones that are most likely to go to slaughter are the babies. And the reason for that is people do not want to train a horse. They don't want to have to go to that expense. And so we've started taking the ones that we actually feel are least likely to be rescued at the last moment. And so we take a lot of the younger ones and we have them broke to ride and we train them. But it's just an amazing thing that these are babies.
Well, what's incredible to me that some of these, even on the clip, we had, what, the great-great-grandson of the Secretariat that you rescued?
Yes.
I mean, can you imagine that? Think about that.
Yeah.
That these
We also
horses-
have a great-great-great-grandson of Man o' War,
Wow.
who himself was a very, very successful racehorse. And it's just amazing, some of the horses that are there. I don't know if you saw the movie Seabiscuit, but the horse that played Seabiscuit ended up being sent to slaughter.
You're
He was
kidding.
rescued, and he's now at a horse rescue in Tennessee, but he was rescued at the last moment. So the things that go on are absolutely horrific. And, you know, let's be honest, in this country, we don't eat horse meat because we think of horses differently.
Yes.
We put them on a pedestal because we know that they helped us to build this nation. And so we have a lot of respect for horses. And I feel very sure that once the word really gets out and people truly understand that horse slaughter is going on, that the American people will stop it. I just think a lot of people don't know about it.
Now, I'm going to bring this up because people have said, you know, at one time that McDonald's was horse meat and that it was actually used for hamburger meat at one time.
It was.
Now, I think that that has stopped, but basically when they send the horses to Mexico and Canada, are they not being sent to Japan as food?
Well, it's not just Japan, it's parts of Europe. And I'm sure they do eat the horse meat probably in Canada and Mexico as well.
Yes.
But, you know, it is not legal to serve horse meat in the U.S. Again, we feel differently about horses. And so in July of 2007, they passed the National Horse Slaughter Prevention Act, and they closed the slaughter plants in the U.S. But immediately they began shipping them to Canada and Mexico. So many of the people who signed the original petition and helped that bill to get passed are sitting back thinking, oh, okay, they don't slaughter in the U.S. anymore. But the slaughter never stopped. And in many cases, all cases really, it's out of the frying pan and into the fire for these horses because now they go through these horrific trailer rides and absolutely meet barbaric ends. They do not have the slaughter practices that we have here. These horses are not stunned. And so, you know, it's really a much, much worse fate that they are meeting.
Well, I know Tim Bishop is the sponsor, one of the co-sponsors of the new bill, which is trying to stop us exporting horses for slaughter.
Right.
So he is a New York representative, and you can contact him. Basically, if you want to look on the Pet Trustees website, we will have a link for you to contact him or your other local representatives and let them know how much you support this legislation
Yes.
to stop the slaughter for horses.
Yes, it's H.R. 503.
Okay.
And that is the Prevention of Equine Cruelty Act.
Okay.
And that really needs to get passed, but the good news is it really can get passed, and it can get passed quickly. And we ask, when people go on our website and access that petition, we then ask them to treat it, I say, treat it like a joke. Did you ever see when you get a joke on your email, there's this many names before yours? Send it out to a lot of the people that you know. You know, the old commercial, she told two friends and she told two friends and so on and so on. If people would just pass it around, not only sign it, but send it to 10 people. That bill can be passed and probably passed this year, which would be fantastic. But, you know, Congress can close again without it ever being looked at as, you know, what happened last year. So we really want to get that passed.
I would ask people to just take a couple of minutes to just think about how they grew up watching horses on television and in the movies, and how they're so very aware of the wonderful, rich history the horses have had in this country, where we've applauded their accomplishments in sports, whether it be polo, whether it be at the rodeo, or whether it be at the races.
And
You
the
know,
covered wagons where they took
right.
us, they opened up
They
the
helped
West.
That's right.
explore this country. We rode on their backs in war to deliver our mail. I think it's important for people to have some retro thinking as well as current thinking on this subject so that they can understand that this is not something to turn a blind eye to, but rather that this is something that they should have a sense for. and they should care enough about to take a little bit of time to make a difference, and they can do it. And that's one of the things, to get back to what I said earlier, that we feel so very good about, is just putting a face to this thing, because it's the easiest thing in the world to hear this sort of information, and then to go about your day and get busy with stuff. That's why I think if an individual can just really try to relate to what a horse means to them, you know, through this whole retrospective as well as current, you know, feelings on the subject, and to feel it, to feel the cause. And that's what we try to accomplish at Baiting Hollow Farm Vineyard, is the high profile that we have, is to use it to this end.
We're coming quickly to the close of part 1 of this session, and I want people to know about your 2 fabulous wines, and hopefully we'll be able to go into that, because those 2 wines, every single wine that you purchase, it could be through your website. If you click onto Pet Trustees' website, pettrustees.net, we'll link you over to them, and you can purchase these wines, because every single bottle of wine you purchase, a portion of that goes to horse rescue, and this is a very important cause, and I think it's just incredible what you've done. And we've got to talk about Angel and some of the other celebrity horses that you have there, and certainly the wines and the bottling.
I just want to say, of course, we have many more varietals than that, and of course, monies from all of that, we fund this operation ourselves, do go to the horse rescue. However, all the profits on these 2 wines, Angel and Mirage, go directly back to the horses, and hopefully will eventually allow us to expand, which is what we really want.
Oh, it's such a great, great thing that you're doing. And thank you for educating us. It's really been marvelous.
We have a
Thank you.
we have a 3-step plan. That's our mission, and that's I'd like to be able to tell you about in our next segment.
Well, let's certainly do that with that next segment. That's fantastic.
That's wonderful.
And thank you so much for being with us today,
Thank
Sharon.
you.
Levine.
Either way.
I was teasing her.
As soon as you leave New York, it's always Levine.
It's so terrible, because I was like teasing her, because you think of vine with vineyards.
Yes.
And so, anyway, so nice to have you, both Richard and also Sharon.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Levine.